Going live. We are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday night book club stream by the Crossyard. Oh, God damn it. I did it again. What is it called? Stream by the Crossroads. Stream by the Crossroads. That's it. I'm going to get it one of these times.
Cross streams, maybe?
Cross streams. I think that's Ghostbusters. That's the Ghostbusters one. We have... let's see. So we are going over chapter 17 through 21 tonight. If we make it, that would be Bran 3, Caitlin 4, John 3, Eddard 4, and Tyrion 3. Some of these are pretty big chapters, meaning important in the story. And we are going to do what we usually do. So when we do our book club review, we try to stay within that chapter like it was a first read. We try with very mild spoilers. It's sometimes very hard, but we've been doing pretty good keeping to it. So I think we're going to try to keep to it. I think people are really enjoying that. But let me introduce our guests. So we have the ladies below us. Miss Martin Muse is our guest tonight. How are you tonight?
I'm doing very well. Good evening.
Good evening. And you are a first-time reader, right?
Yes, first-time reader.
And you're up to chapter 31, you said, backstage, correct?
Correct, yes.
That is exciting. So I can't wait to hear your views on these. We also have Jayne Theory.
Hey, guys.
You got to do your spiel, man.
Okay.
I get muted. I muted to take like a vape hit, and it's like pause. Do your spiel.
Okay, so you can find me here on YouTube, where I post movie and television reviews every Sunday at 6. And you can also follow me on Twitter at Jayne Theory.
Thank you, Jayne. And the one, the only, first of his name, Stig Kenobi Stannis Baratheon.
I'm on this stream by right. All who deny that are my foes.
I like that one.
That's twice I warned you, Renly.
A shadow baby pops. Oh, wait a minute. All right. So in our chat, I'm already ruining things. In our chat tonight, we have Milady. We have Mason. Thank you for stopping in. Mason is one of our
what is Milady's
more
full
excited
name,
ones about this stuff. He likes it. So
what is Milady's full name?
I hate you. Lady Tarelia. Shit. Can you say it one more time?
Tauriel?
It says clearly
Tauriel.
Lady Tauriel.
Lady. Everyone says it a hair different, so it screws me all up. Lady Tauriel. She's not even a real character, isn't she? Wasn't she made for the movies?
Yeah, but she was still in the movie.
Okay, she was in the movie. I saw the movie once. I was disappointed. We also have Renee A. Hale.
Just a warning: don't say Stig Hale. That sounds bad.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It has happened.
Yeah, I've never even thought of that. Stig Kenobi, hail to you, but not like, yeah. Wow. Okay, so we're gonna skip over that. I didn't even think about that, man. That's a little nerve-wracking. Tatsusu Nami, hello. Haven't seen you in a week at least. Hope everything is all right. Our good friend Culture Casino. I hope everybody is safe and everybody is healthy. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I just want to make sure people are safe and healthy. And this is a good thing. We're all home doing the right thing, watching me.
Culture Casino is probably not safe because it's a bit of a gamble.
Oh, I just got in a little trouble. I beg your pardon. I'm real. Thank you very much. You are very real, me lady. All right. So we're going to jump into it with, well, let's take a step back. So we got Bran 3. Okay. We got Caitlin 4, Catelyn. However, all I know is I can't stand her. Cat 4.
That bitch.
That bastard. We have John 3, we have Eddard 4, and we have Tyrion 3. Some of these are pretty important chapters, I feel like. What do you feel like in general, Jayne? Are these important ones in the book early on?
Oh, these are probably the most important chapters early on.
Dang.
Not in the entire story.
You know, every time we do these streams, at least 3 of us say these are probably very important chapters.
I said it last week.
It's
I know
become
for a
thing.
fact.
So, for simplicity, every damn chapter is important. All
You know
who
what?
deny that are my foes.
Safe, healthy, and damn sexy. Oh, that's not a question mark. That's damn sexy. All right,
Okay.
Culture Casino. You got to
Oh my
feel it,
God.
brother. Feel it. All right. So we are going to start out with Bran 3. This is while Bran's in a coma, Bran dreams of falling and of a crow teaching him to fly. So I'm going to just read the synopsis. If you want to read along, it is a wiki of Ice and Fire. I am totally taking it from, they do a very good job with their synopsis, and, the people that work on this website, it's Westeros.org, are very, very into, I mean, a lot of them actually have the 2 guys who really run it, I believe, wrote, A World of Ice and Fire with George. I might be wrong. Ilio, and I'm forgetting the other lady's name.
I think it's a Swedish slut.
No, yeah. On we go. All right. Bran is dreaming of falling. It seems that he has been falling for years, but I never fall, he remembers as he falls. As the ground gets closer, Bran believes that he will wake up in an instant before he hits the ground, like always he has before. And if you don't, asks the voice. A crow is with him, telling him to fly. Bran insists that he does not know how to fly. The crow asks him if he has ever tried. Bran then asks the crow if he is really a crow, and the crow asks Bran if he is really falling. So I like that little section right there. Bran asks, "Are you really a crow?" And the crow goes, "Are you really falling?" I think that's always a good one right there. Bran begins to cry, but the crow insists. The answer is flying, not crying. And that's flying, and flying is easy. When Bran mentions that that crow has wings, the crow says maybe Bran does too. When Bran searches himself for wings, the crow tells him there are different kinds of wings. Bran asks the crow what he is doing, and the crow responds that he is teaching Bran to fly. When Bran looks down again, he can see the whole realm and everything in it. In Winterfell, he sees the inhabitants going about their work. He sees the heart tree, the godswood, looking back at him. Bran sees his mother contemplating a blood-stained knife aboard a ship sailing the narrow sea, and his father pleading with the king near the trident. He sees Sansa crying herself to sleep, and Arya holding her secrets in her heart. All around his family, Bran sees shadows. One as dark as ash with the terrible face of a hound, another in armor as golden and beautiful as the sun. Over them all loom a giant armored in stone, but with only darkness and black blood behind its visor. Man. In the far east, Bran sees dragons stirring in a fabled Shadowlands. Bran turns north to the wall, where he sees Jon sleeping alone and growing cold and hard. Then Bran looks beyond the wall and beyond the curtain of light at the edge of the world into what he calls the heart of winter. What he sees there makes him cry. The crow tells Bran that now he knows why he must live, because winter is coming. Bran can see, spirals of ice rising up in the spires of ice rising up into impale him in the bodies of 1,000 dreamers before him. The crow tells Bran that he must choose, fly or die. Bran spreads his arm and flies. The crow reacts by pecking at Bran's face between his eyes, blinding him. Suddenly, the crow dissolves into a serving woman with long black hair. Bran realizes he's in Winterfell. The serving woman drops her basin and runs down the steps shouting, "He's awake!" Bran touches the burning space between his eyes where he was pecked but cannot feel a thing. Bran's direwolf jumps up onto his legs, but Bran cannot feel it. When his brother Robb arrives, Bran looks up calmly and says his name is Summer. That's just a synopsis of what happened. Like that is one of the best chapters Who would like to go first?
I think the servant girl touched him while he was unconscious.
Got him. It made him rise.
hmm
I pulled a
Wow.
Stig right there. You like that? I pulled a Stig. What up,
You
Orville
did.
Nation? Hail to Orville Nation. Please subscribe to my good friend PJ's channel. He is one of the best. So yeah, I mean, this chapter has a lot going on. Okay, so we start with Bran falling.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just thinking it's like any other dream. No big deal. Until this crow appears talking to him. And to me, I don't know about anybody else, this crow's aggressive and a little bit mean.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I still
He's a
don't think
tough
it's Blood
teacher.
Raven. What? Oh, should I not jump to there? My bad. It's a tough teacher. Yes. God, I'm ruining things. I'm sorry. Jayne, what do you feel?
No, I mean, when I first read this, I was thinking that, God, where do you start? You begin to see his awakening of his future powers, and I think that's really what he was being taught here. It's interesting that it's aligned with this metaphor of flying.
Yep.
And he doesn't ultimately earn his wings, so to speak, until he's honed this vision, his ability to see what we understand to be the present, but potentially also the future.
Correct. Definitely shadows, as he says. Shadows.
Right.
You see shadows of the future.
Yeah. I do think when the crow was pecking his forehead, I guess
Yes.
it was like opening his third eye in a way.
Yeah. Yes.
Aggressively.
I do have to say, Rennie A, I also watch Quinn, and Quinn is awesome. With LML, LML is awesome. Those two guys I would love to ever hook up with. So if you know them, pass that along.
They're, the bastards. I'll burn
bastards.
them.
I think the crow this is the crow's last ditch effort. I almost feel like it truly means if you don't do this, you slip out of this coma and you die. You're not or do you wake up and you just never have this power?
Well, remember we had talked in one of my theories, I don't know if it's a common theory, but one of my theories is that the bones that he saw were literally of other dreamers, other people like him in that situation who were unsuccessful and who may not have been necessarily dead, but broken in other ways. And I know, we look at some of the other individuals in the story who seem off or mentally sort of broken or overly aggressive or just sick and twisted. And you kind of have to wonder if maybe some of those people were put through this trial and their brokenness as a result of their inability to survive it the way Brandon did.
Right. I won't say who, but there is definitely one person we talked about last 2 weeks ago that I truly believe went through this trial. So this is something that has happened to other people. But Miss Martin Muse, what did you get as a first-time reader?
Well, when I first read it, it was really cool the way they described it. It was just like in the TV show. So I'm not completely spoiler-free because I did watch the show.
Right.
What I don't understand, just looking at it with not knowing anything else that's going to happen, is what the actual F is all of that. I mean, was there something about his near-death experience that triggered some sort of magical power?
That's a valid question. This is one of the first times in the book, other than the first chapter, we see any form of a vision, like of a power, something supernatural. Is it supernatural? Is he just dreaming? Yeah. But what I do realize is that there's two ways I look at this. Will he falls and doesn't fly. He may slip out of that coma and die. Or does he fall hit the ground and just wake up, and his life is just a crippled boy for now on. We don't know where his path is going now. All we do know is that he ended up flying in his dream. And that ability to fly in his dream gives him the ability to see the shadows around his family. And he's seeing his family. I mean, we don't know. We know his mom decided to leave with a knife from the chapters before. So he's actually seeing what's really happening. We know his sister's crying because of what happened to Lady in the chapters before. We know Arya, some secrets she's holding. We know Ned is arguing with the king. So these are real things that are happening that we know now Bran is actually seeing because we just read about them in the chapters before. So this has to be supernatural.
And
so they're showing it's real, that for real what he's seeing. Yeah.
Yes.
But he also sees the shadows and the threat, the storm, and things that the people he's looking at don't see. He doesn't see them clearly. He doesn't quite know who or what these figures are or what these dangers are. But he sees his family and he sees the dangers that they don't see.
Right, as shadows, which I do like, even though one is golden armor. And I mean, just the way George writes it, now that you've read the story, you know exactly who he's talking about. But in this chapter right here, we have no clue except for one of them, I believe. When I read it, I thought they were talking about Jaime, the golden armor.
Yeah.
But there's two possibilities, though. One is something's being done to him. The second one is it's triggering something that was already there,
right?
Through a trauma. Later on in the books, we can shed more light on it,
right?
I guess, but for everyone in the chat that are new, we're deliberately not spoiling anything. We're just going by what we know up until this point,
which is so hard, but we're trying.
Yeah.
So no, you're gonna get no spoilers from us.
But what
until we get there.
Until we get there, and then we can look back. But what I do know is when I was reading this for the first time, I believed the crow was something dangerous. I believe the crow was not a positive effect on Bran's life. That crow might be helping him find a power within him, but I always read it as that crow was not his friend. It did not want to help Bran.
To be honest, that crow might be completely desperate as well and is rushing things.
That's what it felt like for me.
Okay. I mean, I definitely believe that. But when I was reading it, I didn't feel, I felt more aggression than desperation, but I could definitely see desperation.
Or both.
Now that,
because he was definitely trying to force him by any means to see, to understand, to use his power, to use his ability, and was relentless with it for a child. We still have to remember this is a little kid.
Right. And we're seeing it through a little kid's mind, which still George blows my mind being able to write as a little boy, or a little girl. You know, he's amazing at that. So now,
tell you one thing.
Some of the things
being pecked in the face by a bird is not pleasant.
No, exactly. Blinding him.
Well, that happened to me last summer with a seagull.
Oh God!
From experience.
Oh yeah,
that is experience.
The fucker went for my eye too.
Did you ever think it was trying to open something and free you to be a supernatural being of some sort?
No. I've always been supernatural.
I do like he brings up the Far East, dragons stirring in the fabled Shadowlands.
Yes.
Other dragons, exactly. Because the Shadowlands are something completely different than what we know where anybody is.
Yeah, but it's still Bran, so how does he know it's the Shadowlands? He might just think it's the Shadowlands because it's Far East. He's never seen the Shadowlands, or
I know it depends on the actual description.
He may have been educated about it. He may have read stories or books or been taught about it.
Right. I know when one of his first chapters, he's going over maps and stuff with Ludwin. Oh my God, I'm screwing his name up.
Lewin.
Thank you. I like that he sees John sleeping alone, growing cold and hard.
That's really perverted, though.
No.
Stig.
Really? No, but yeah, because that's exactly what's happening to his soul, Steve.
Right. And that's the first thing I thought. I'm glad you put it that way, because when I was reading this, I thought the Night's Watch is making him cold and hard, like hardening his heart, making him fierce. That's what I got from it when I first read it. I now see it differently, but I'm not going to go into that. But it is amazing how it's foreshadowing. You know, it's foreshadowing maybe events that are going to happen to John.
Or given that the timeline is a bit, some chapters can take place at the same time.
Right.
And because of the John chapter I'm going to read from later.
Right.
That's might be what Bran is seeing.
It could be
happening right now. Oh, okay.
Right. Well, that's at least how I read it
because
the first time. I'm like, really, when we're doing this, I'm really trying to go back and remember what I thought.
Yeah, because all of the other things he's describing.
We have a lot of echo going on.
Yeah, all of the other things he's describing is happening right now, right? So the thing with John most likely is too. And we get to see that in John's chapter later.
Yes, we do. I do also find it like what's happening to him that he sees that heart of winter and it makes him cry. So whatever's going on in the heart of winter, it makes him cry.
Does it make him cry out of fear or sadness though?
Okay, so what is it? That's a great question. I thought it was I'm trying to think back on the first time. I wanted to think it was more fear, but I thought it was also because he's seeing all these different things. It's freaking him out, but it could be sadness.
It seems to be getting scarier though.
Yes.
As it goes along. And he cried out. So to me, that leans more toward fear.
Mm-hmm. And after that part, don't forget the crow says, now you know why you have to live, because winter is coming. Ooh. So, I mean, I don't think it's a positive moment. Winter is coming, as we have seen it in the book, or excuse me, in the book or show. Winter is coming at the very beginning of the book is a idea of being prepared for the worst. Yeah. Harsh reality, be prepared for it. That's how we're taking winter is coming right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's it's just a little observation, but if you look at the mottos of each house, it's all about the house itself, but with the Starks, it's more about an event,
right?
So they're different when it comes to the motto,
right? I mean, think about it. You have "We do not sow" for the Greyjoys. We family duty and honor for the Tullys. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's usually a motto, not like an event that they're preparing for. But then again, you get introduced to the North and you think that's a Northern type statement because it's like, the North is hard and ready for winter, because when winter hits, it can last for years, many years at times. Yeah.
You forgot about the best one though.
What?
Ours is the fury, said Davos.
Said Davos. I also found it, you hear spires of ice rise up and impale him and bodies of thousands of dreamers before him. So now I didn't know if that was the bodies are all around him, or he's just, when he gets stabbed, he feels them like they're all around him, but they're really him. You know what I mean? Like he's just feeling those bodies being stabbed over and over again. Almost like he's sharing the experience.
Huh.
Yeah. It's like a VR experience.
And it also makes you wonder how long this has been going on, how many hundreds or thousands of years they've been trying to find this one.
Right, because we have no idea of time right now.
Right.
I took it as tens to 100,000s of years. I thought it was a very long, whatever this thing is searching for within Bran, it's been doing this for a while because that's why it's so just angry and wants it to happen.
Like either you're the one or you're not.
Right.
It's over with.
And I'm moving on. You know, I really do.
Bran is in a position where he isn't being distracted. His mind is not being distracted. So maybe that made him more susceptible. He was in a coma, right?
Right.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, and don't forget, it starts off with darkness. He's in darkness. He's not seeing the realm yet. At the beginning of it, it's dark, and he just feels the sensation of falling. So it's
maybe he is falling out of the darkness.
Or the moment between life and death. That last split second moment.
Right. And that's within this frame, it can last forever.
That actually makes sense because he keeps seeing the moment where he almost died. So if he doesn't land unharmed, he's dead.
Yeah.
Which is why he needs to fly, to not land and get killed.
Well, that's it. Like,
sorry, my brain just blew up. It was like, yes, symbolism. Yes, okay. It just clicked.
It's one of my favorite chapters. It really is. I love, and I'm gonna go over these guys one more time. So he says, all around his family, he sees shadows. One is dark as ash with the terrible face of a hound. We've already, I believe, met that character at this point. And I love how dark as ash. And then we hear the features of the hound. You know, his face was burned.
Right.
So like a terrible burn on one side of his face. Another in armor as golden and beautiful as the sun. It sounds like a Lannister at this moment in time. That's what I would think. But then you get over them loom a giant armored in stone, but with only darkness and black blood behind its visor. At this moment, I had no clue what the hell that meant. You know, at that moment in time when we read this chapter, that meant nothing to me yet. And I was like, that was the one where I'm like, I can't figure that one out. I'm wondering what that's going to be.
Oh, we will.
It might be a little while, but we will.
There are multiple theories, though.
I still don't get the stone reference, though, but I have a theory, but I'm not going to say it because spoilers.
Right.
There's a theory.
We might have to talk about that one afterwards. Because I'd like to hear it. I don't know that one at the moment. I have an idea of what it could be. I'll say it later. So anybody else have anything about this chapter? Anybody in the chat want to ask a question about this chapter or have something maybe we missed? I like to try to keep everybody in here. We also have the Gilk Man in the house. Thank you, Gilk Man, for jumping in. Space Tuna, thank you for stopping in. Really appreciate it. I do think I saw my boy 14 Barbers here. I already said Renier, but there was somebody else I missed. I know I saw somebody else jump in here. So I'm sorry. Orville Nation. There was somebody else. Sorry if I missed you, but thank you guys for showing up.
Space Tuna. That sounds a bit fishy, though.
Out of this
I
world,
had tuna for dinner.
There you go. Oh, wow. Don't say it to him. Might have been a relative. If you guys can please like, share, subscribe, do all that type of stuff. Subscribing is free. Liking and sharing and commenting, really, it helps the algorithm. I hate having to ask, but YouTube forces it upon us. So please go ahead. I'm trying to think if there's anything else anybody want. I do really like the idea he blinded him, but yet he was pecking at in between his eye, right on his forehead.
Like he was closing the eyes he was used to open the other one.
His eyes of reality. Right.
And the memory that he kept trying to go back to of who was responsible for pushing him. He was being told to forget that. That's not important now.
Right. So like, I always wondered okay, well, like
to be fair, if you witness incest, it's best to forget about it.
Yeah, if it's consenting incest, walk away, people. Walk away.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things. Was that moment meant to happen? Because why would this crow tell him just to forget about it? You know, was this a happy accident, or was this something that was meant to happen and the crow knew it would happen? I don't know. This is an important chapter. If you're reading this for the first time, please remember this is an important chapter. Stay with it. Remember it. Yeah, because when we get into the next books, it's very important.
Yeah, there's the next brand chapter, I believe, builds on this with more myths and legends of Westeros.
The stories that
from my favorite old Nan.
Oh yes, the bestest Nan ever. I also noticed that in this chapter, Bran goes from being a little boy to like a freaking old man. I mean, by the end, he's like old and and wise. Just the contrast between what he was and then what he became after this.
Oh, I'm sorry. Space Tuna is Nancy. Oh, okay. How you doing? Space Tuna is the name of my new book. That's awesome. Rock on. Ord's board is in the house. Thank you, buddy. Wow. See, you're just a first reader, Teresa. That's what blows my mind. These things you pick up, I really, you and me, lady, don't ask me to say her name again. Say it's amazing the things you guys pick up, because I literally read this book the first time. I missed so much the first time, and it's exciting to go back through it with you guys.
Well, for sure. Well, but remember though, I'm cheating slightly because I do have a general map of where it's going from watching the TV show, so that allows me to view some of these things through
a little bit. Not, after like season 4, you don't. So just remember that. Yeah, after season 4, none of us really know where it's going. There's parts that we have ideas. Some of it was fan service, so it went where we kind of wanted it to, and it went very remedial compared to what George will write it as. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
I'm just gonna say it. After season 4, the show went full retard, and you're not supposed to do that.
Right. It jumped the shark like 35 times. It jumped the dragon. Yes. Jinx.
Great minds.
Jumped the dragon. Exactly.
Jump the dragon.
Oh, man. Let's see. So we have the center of the forehead is where chakra is. Yes. It is like opening Bran's third eye. And very much agree. I think that is something. Many cultures have an idea in mythology of the third eye, the pituitary gland, whatever you want to call it. Straight back from that site, that's where it actually reaches.
I have 4 of them.
Or not the pituitary. What am I talking? Is it the pituitary? No, it's the what's the one that's shaped like a pine cone? I said the pituitary gland. The one shaped like a pine cone. Oh man, we'll have to talk about that on another one.
The colon.
No, that's completely different. It's full of it. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I enjoyed this, and I love how he wakes up. And Teresa, you have a point. Like he wakes up, and there's just this idea where he names his wolf. Like my wolf's name is Summer. Like that's it. So what else in that dream did he see that we weren't a part of? Because all the names of the wolves, that's something that is obvious to a lot of people. You have Lady for Sansa. You have Nymeria for the wild wolf of Arya. You have Ghost for Jon. A white, red-eyed, direwolf going to the wall. Snow everywhere and weirwood trees. Grey Wind, Shaggy Dog is a big one for Little Rickon. And then you have Summer. And he's a summer child, We hear that from old Nan. It's interesting, and that's a couple chapters away. So I'm sorry if I jumped the gun on that one, but that's one of my other favorite ones.
I think they mentioned before that he was born during the summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
and also we hear winter is coming,
right?
And if his thing is summer, is that he's perhaps the hope?
Yeah, because summer is always at odds with winter, isn't it?
Yes.
eternal struggle thing.
And yeah,
Maybe he saw beyond winter.
right. Now, don't forget, at the beginning of this, summer is used as almost as a diss to somebody. Like, you don't know winter. You're only a child of summer. You know, you guys have no clue what winter is all about. That's a big thing in the North. Like, calling someone a summer child means you have no clue of hardship, you know, reality. But that's a valid point. It's an idea of what comes after winter is summer. So can it be, you know, go ahead.
No, I was going to say at the time, too, I kind of thought I was asking myself whether the wolf told him his name.
Right. Right.
Because I didn't know the extent of their power or whatever at that time.
Well, don't forget, we already started getting that idea that the wolves have some connection. When they're howl, he starts moving a bit, you know. The wolf protects Arya because he understands she's in trouble. So they have a connection. I do not believe Bran has experienced the winter yet. I think this has been a 9-year summer.
Yeah. They keep saying it's the longest summer.
Right.
So maybe they're getting the longest winter as well.
You never know. You never know. All right. I think if anybody has anything else about this one, we can move on. But this is a great chapter to remember and hold on to, everybody.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bookmark that one.
Yes. All right. Finally, because of my my co-host's idea that I shouldn't be reading everything, which is awesome, Jayne will take the next one.
Okay, so this is Catelyn's chapter. And Catelyn is joined on deck by Sir Roderick Castle as their ship, Storm Dancer, prepares to dock in King's Landing. Catelyn notes that Roderick looks much better than he has for days, as Roderick has been chronically seasick throughout the voyage. The two discuss how to go about their investigation of the dagger. Catelyn suggests speaking to the Red Keep's Master-at-Arms, who may recognize the weapon. Roderick reminds Catelyn that they must be careful that she's not recognized. This brings Lord Peter Baelish, the King's Master of Coin, to Catelyn's mind. Baelish, still known by Littlefinger, was a name given to him by her brother Edmure. He was raised with her at Riverrun as her father's ward. They had been close until Peter had challenged Catelyn's betrothed, Brandon Stark, for her hand. Brandon had only spared Peter because Catelyn had pleaded for his life. After his recovery, Peter had been sent away, and Catelyn has not seen him since. Roderick proposes that he go to the Red Keep alone, as he would be less recognizable. Now, after they disembark, Catelyn and Sir Roderick move into a modest old inn that was suggested by the ship's captain. After Roderick leaves, Catelyn tries to get some sleep, but is awoken by the city watch of King's Landing. They show her a seal depicting a mockingbird in gray wax, the sigil of Peter Baelish. As she prepares to accompany the soldiers, who presumably don't recognize her, Catelyn wonders how Peter knew that she was in King's Landing in the first place. And she settles on Storm Dancer's captain as the culprit. Catelyn is escorted to a tower room occupied by Peter. When Catelyn asks how he knew she was in the city, Peter replies that Varys knows everything. He does admit, however, that Varys does not know the reason for Catelyn's visit. Catelyn lies that she merely yearned to see her husband and daughters. Peter does not believe this for a moment and asks Catelyn to let him help. Before Catelyn can answer, they're joined by Varys, who asks to see the dagger. Catelyn is astounded by Varys' knowledge of things that no one could possibly know and produces the dagger for inspection. Upon examining the weapon, Peter reveals that it once belonged to him, until he allegedly lost it, betting on Sir Jaime Lannister in the tourney on Prince Joffrey's name day. Peter explains that when Jaime was unhorsed by Sir Loras Tyrell, Peter's dagger was won by Tyrion Lannister. What are our thoughts about that?
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
There's so many clues.
Oh my God, there
How
are.
did she miss each and every one of them?
Yeah, I mean, how convenient. He's like, oh, it's mine, but I think that it was given to what's his face. So there, so it's all his fault. Yeah.
And she clearly doesn't trust him, right? She doesn't start off by telling him the truth. So why do you believe him now?
Because she's dumber than a rock.
Yeah, she believes him. Well, this is kind of like a thing. People will believe anything because they're afraid not to, or because they want to.
This one, from the get-go on this one, there's foreshadowing and symbolic things going on right off the rip that I never caught. I'm just going to say that I never caught reading it until you move to the next couple books. Let me just say this. Sir Roderick, the sea made him sick.
Yeah.
That one got me thinking about the future. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
The name of the ship. I mean, Storm Dancer.
Yep. Oh man, there's so much going on.
And suddenly he looks so much better. He's been sick this entire time.
Right.
And now he's fine.
Right. Now
that doesn't ring.
No, doesn't ring a bell at all.
Seasick though,
Yeah.
Now he's sick. That's what got me seasick. Just think about it, something else that, she says, how do you know we were even coming or we got here? And it's Varys. I did not believe that. I didn't believe it when I first read it. Peter seems already like he's a kind of scummy guy who may know more than he lets on. That's what I got from this already. I do like the more knowledge about her. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say that she suspects early on that there was something between Peter and the ship captain, that something about where she was staying or the meeting was orchestrated. So you have in your mind that he's plotting something. And by lying, you know that she doesn't trust him.
Right.
But somehow 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2.
Right.
Another monster kind of nailed it. Littlefinger says that Tyrion bet against Jaime. Tyrion would never do that.
Right. He loves his family. Don't forget, he loves his family.
No, he loves Jaime.
Yes.
I'm not so sure about the others, but he would never bet against Jaime.
Right. And we get that from one of the first Tyrion chapters when he's talking about his family. Like Jaime is the one that always has treated him well. Yeah. Why would he ever bet against his own brother? So like the thing I get here is Catelyn is not trusting her gut.
Yeah. Well, I think she's letting her hatred of the Lannisters overcloud her judgment.
Very, very astute.
She's an emotional woman, and emotional women are batshit crazy. That's what's going on.
Well, yeah.
All emails to Stig Kenobi at hedon'tgiveashit.com. No, you've got to. I do like that we learn more about her past with Brandon Stark.
Yeah.
It
tells us a lot about Peter too, that he would even dare challenge
Brandon Stark. Love. I was gonna say because he was
like
dumber.
Suicidal.
It is suicidal. It is suicidal.
I'm sure Brandon Stark was kind of like, what the actual hell?
It was a joke to him, and Peter comes in full armor.
Yeah, you have to give it to Littlefinger. He does have balls.
Yeah. Let's talk about Varys.
Wow. Actually, that's funny.
And he probably learned a valuable lesson that day.
Oh, yeah.
He learned a very valuable lesson that day. Mm-hmm. So now we're getting introduced to characters in King's Landing, which is also exciting. We're not going to learn first through Edark's view of them. We're getting it through Cat, who already knew Peter, already had feelings about. Everyone has feelings about Varys. He's very courteous, very polite, very knowledgeable, knows everything going on within the city walls. At least that's what we're being told. talks about the knife like he knew of this knife, and then Peter does admit it was his, but he lost it. Like there's just so much going on in this one chapter. It's like I feel like I need to read it to people and then point out like, oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. That's the tough thing about some of these chapters. Like you give like that was a great synopsis, but it's just not enough because there's so many little things you pick when you read it.
You kind of have to follow each character through the chapter individually to understand what role they're playing in that moment.
Try not to just see it through the POV's eyes, but see it through everybody else's eyes. That's valid.
Yeah, and this is why it's taking George a long time to write the books. They're extremely complex.
And getting more complex. I mean, this book might be the most complex for him. If you think about it, it's the peak of what's going to happen. And then, Dream of Spring will be the downslope. So that's what I think. I think this is going to be, Stig, you're absolutely right.
I think A Dream of Spring will take him less time than book 6, because in A Dream of Spring, he'll basically just be fulfilling the setups he's already done.
Mm-hmm.
There's no more plotting to do, really.
Right. He is always plotting, though, not George, but Littlefinger. I just wonder. God, this is the part where I feel like it's going to get hard not to spoil, and we're doing our best. I think Jayne, did you say, or was it Teresa? You see the hatred and the desire in Cat to blame the Lannisters. Like, oh, it's Tyrion. Like you're gonna see.
Yep.
They already have a presumption that this family is out to get Robert. So why not try to hurt the Starks to hurt Robert?
Precisely. And and as Stig said about emotional women, but Catelyn, she holds a grudge forever, as we've seen with the way she treats Jon Snow. So she does not like the Lannisters, and come hell or high water. And isn't it very convenient that Littlefinger, who knows Catelyn very, very well, very well, plants that seed?
Yeah, and to be fair, Catelyn is to blame for a lot.
Yeah. They're so, oh God. What do you get from Varys in this chapter? What did you think of him when you first read it?
Superb character.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't mess with him. He knows everything.
And he tried to, and I love how that was set up. Like he knows everything that goes on, and he yet tries to come across as non-threatening, and like giggles a lot, and just tries to. I don't know. You can tell that something's not right. He knows too much. He's being incredibly fake, over the top as usual, and you've just been told by Peter that he's basically has spies everywhere.
Right. He knows everything.
By what he's telling you, he has them even in your own realm.
Yeah, he's like Big Brother is watching.
Yes. And that doesn't concern you?
Right. And bringing him into something that's supposed to be private and like, well, he already knows. Let's just bring him in and see what he has to say. Now you have too many people involved in this. Peter already knows that she's lying to him.
And her original plan wasn't to involve many people. This was all supposed to be very secret.
That's what she said in the last chapter she was in, correct?
Yeah. Now it's all blowing up. Also, the point about it being Tyrion's dagger, like she knows that Tyrion, or she has to know that Tyrion is the smarter Lannister.
Right.
Like he's incredibly intelligent. He wouldn't, even if he wanted to kill Bran, he wouldn't do it with a dagger that everybody can essentially recognize or tie back to him.
Someone will definitely be able to. Then why give them? Well, that's another thing. That dagger is too. I mean, first of all, it's Valyrian. It has a dragon bone hilt. Like that is not a common dagger. You would think someone would use maybe even a castle forged steel dagger would be dangerous to do because you could find the smith that made it. You need something very basic if you're going to try to murder a child and get away with it and hope that you don't get caught. And if you do get caught, leave no evidence that they can figure it out. You just hit the nail on the head. Tyrion to us in the chapters we've already read, very book smart, very intelligent, figures things out. Would he ever do something like that?
Yeah, the key word here is thinking. Catelyn doesn't do that. She just reacts. She doesn't think things through. She just, someone says something, she gets angry, she reacts to it, and just keeps hanging on to that as if it was true. There's no critical thinking going on.
Right. It's all based on emotion at the moment. You know, and to feel that it's all about her family, I would think, wouldn't you want to be as level-headed as possible to figure it out correctly?
Right.
It's hard to say though.
Yeah. Well, no, she's also overly emotional. I mean, because her son, her family's been split apart. They're separated with all this stuff going on with this alleged murder, her sister going crazy, and then her son falls out a window. I mean, she's definitely under a lot of pressure. Yeah,
but like we said last week, she's sitting there watching over Bran, and she's neglecting Rickon, who's the youngest one, and she's also taking it out on Jon.
Yeah. Right, very selfish.
So, I'm just gonna say it. She's a bitch.
Ah, there it is. She really is.
Knew it was coming.
Another monster put. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that's a good point about Rickon. Yeah, that you're saying because he's ultimately a baby, and little kid. Well, all children need their mothers, but especially little ones. Because they don't understand any of it.
Right.
And they need a mother's love.
Right. I also think another monster brings up a great point again. Tyrion is a lover of books, and to distract people when the cat's paw murderer was coming in, he set fire to the library. Would Tyrion, even from what we know, so happy he got to take a couple books from the library for his journey north, would he tell them, set fire, it's okay, set fire to the library and then go do your job? It makes no sense, right? It makes no sense.
That stupid. He wouldn't be that stupid to do that because that's so obvious.
Right. It all lines up that it would be something that, Tyrion likes books. Tyrion, it's his dagger, he likes to gamble. I see what's going on here.
Well, Tyrion wouldn't burn books.
Never.
No.
I can say that, from experience, if you love books, you're not going to want to harm them.
Right.
And she knows Peter is unstable.
Could it have had two goals, though, that someone wanted the library burned too?
Never thought about that.
Well, that's what I brought up that last week. Like, why do you burn a library like that? There must be knowledge there that we would never be able to. I mean, it's one of the oldest castles. Yeah. So is there something also in there you want to get rid of?
And the dagger is Valyrian steel, which means a Targaryen weapon.
Right.
It could be that a Targaryen loyalist was behind all of it. And Littlefinger just took the opportunity to just try and smear Tyrion.
Right.
But it doesn't really have anything to do with it. We don't know.
Right. But to kill a little boy, why?
It would fit with him, though.
Right.
Taking the opportunity to further his goals. But
along those lines.
Yeah, because the alternative is Tyrion did it, which we know he didn't. The other one is Littlefinger, but he was nowhere near. And he wouldn't have had time to send someone all the way up there either, I think.
Right.
So that would just be weird. So I don't think Littlefinger did it either. think he just took the opportunity to try and sow discord.
It's interesting, though, that you describe it as a Targaryen weapon when Varys cuts himself on it.
Ooh.
Varys cuts himself on Valyrian steel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When he first touches it.
Could mean something, could mean nothing.
Could be something, could be nothing.
We
That's
don't
something
know.
to think about. Wow, Jayne. I see that as something.
Nice catch.
I've never caught that before.
Yeah. Well, I've heard a rumor, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, it's probably one of you all that had said that he might be Targaryen. Varys might, because he has like a name like Varys. And
yeah, on our other stream that did come up.
Okay.
It ends with is.
Yeah.
And he's bald, so maybe he's hiding his Targaryen hair. I don't know.
Targaryens do have awesome hair, I must say.
Well, there's only, spoilers for Dunk and Egg. Close your eyes and close your ears, people. If you haven't read Dunk and Egg, there's only one other character in the books that does that in any of the books, and that's
true.
Egg.
Egg, yeah.
Yes,
Egg.
That's Egg. So we'll
one.
just leave it as that. Something to remember, though. Wow.
Interesting. I didn't see that connection until you just said it. You're right. The little egg did.
Yep.
There.
Yep. Reasons. People, reasons. George has reasons for everything.
So many layers.
So many layers. So many layers. Every word means something. That's why it's taking the man so long. Rennie A's like, you better have it ready in the month because that's when he said it would be ready for July.
Yeah.
It's not going to release in July. He might have it done to present in July. But I don't think if we're going to see it this year, it'll be December or November.
That's why I
please
named you the Onion Knights, Davos. Because you have layers.
Layers.
That would be the best Christmas present ever.
Ever.
Onions?
Gosh, no. When's winter?
Okay, so what else do we got? There's so much going on. I love the beginning of this because it's something I picked up. When I reread it, it was something about Roderick I didn't pick up before. And boom, like it to me, that's symbolism. Storm Chaser, the sea made him sick, really, really sick. The storm comes. I don't know. The really, it said how did it actually put it? It was, the actual statement was, which I found notes. Roderick looks much better. Roderick has been chronically seasick throughout the voyage, forcing him to shave his beautiful cheek whiskers. Oh,
because they were full of puke.
Yeah, exactly.
Gross.
Yeah, it was like vomit all over his face.
Yeah. And I always wonder about the captain too.
Oh yeah.
Whose payroll is he on? Is it Peter or is it Varys? Could it be somebody else? Because that's one of the first things she thinks about, right?
Because I think you have Peter playing his game, but Varys is behind all of it.
Yeah,
right.
It varies who's behind
it. All right. Anything else with this chapter? This is another good one. I mean, you're right. 1, 2. I mean, some of these right in a row, bam, bam. You're just like, wow. So I think we're ready to go from King's Landing to the north again. Take it away, Stig.
Okay. John is training with the other recruits under Castle Black's Master at Arms, Sir Alistair Thorne. John is a lot more skilled at swordsmanship than the others, and he accidentally injures Gren. Thorne is disgusted by the recruits. He's disgusted by John, but he at this point he dislikes John more than he hates him because he dislikes the others more. And he keeps mocking John though because of his bastard status. And everyone else pick up on it. He realizes he has no friends among the 20 recruits, and he's starting to resent them. And he's also pissed that nobody but Tyrion warned him about what it would be like. Gren and Toad are introduced as supporting characters, I believe, unless they were mentioned earlier. There's tension between the other recruits and John. John almost gets beaten up, but the blacksmith, Donald Noy, intervenes. And he gives him a lesson that he's being a bit of a twat. And he comes off as a bully that looks down on the others because he's better at sword playing, right? And that's why they're pissed at him.
Right.
Because he keeps humiliating them and pretty much shaming them during the sword training. John picks up on this because later on he starts helping the other recruits with the training, so he learns.
Which is
unlike Catelyn, who just attacked everyone. So, and John and Tyrion have their talk at the wall, and a letter arrives with news about Bran having woken up. That's it.
That's it.
The chapter is dark and full of terror.
It is. Is he growing hard and cold? Yeah.
Well, he kind of was, because he was thinking about that stuff in his. Well, they call it a cell.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like monks.
Yeah.
Like monks. Warrior monks.
Yeah. Well, I really like this chapter because it shows that there's a contrast between where John is and others, because when we were at Winterfell, he was kind of the black sheep and beneath everybody. And then he gets to Castle Black and suddenly he's Miss Hoity-Toity and looking down on everybody. And so I think...
and he's still being treated as a black sheep, but this time it's his own doing.
Precisely. And showing that even though he was, if you will, treated badly at Winterfell, especially by Catelyn, compared to these other guys who came, they were bastards, but street rats, they starving, poor, they had no choice in many cases, or they were just thieves. It's like, dude, John, maybe you didn't have it so bad. And the humility that he had to admit that he was being, as Stig said, a twat.
Right.
Well, he didn't understand anything different. I mean, he was essentially, yes, he was lower on the totem pole, in Winterfell, but here his princeliness comes out. I mean, he was essentially raised as a noble child.
Yep.
And he looks down on the peasants just like the other nobles
right.
tend to do,
Well, also, he's in a familiar setting in a way. He's in a yard. He's practicing swordplay like he did with his brothers at home.
Mm-hmm.
So to him, it's who can best do. He doesn't realize these guys have never had any training. These guys are people that got in trouble and were forced to go to the wall. They didn't decide to go to the wall.
But he's out of touch. He doesn't get any of that.
He doesn't pick up on any of it.
How do you not know how to do this?
Right. He's been sheltered.
Yeah.
Even though bastards grow up faster than everybody else he believes in the North, he's learning he knows nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you like what I did there?
Yeah. I like what you did there.
Thank you. I think, he's also trying to show that he is worthy and that he can be something special there, because he's angry he's even there. He's angry that no one except for Tyrion Lannister told him what really was going to happen when he got there, and he didn't want to believe Tyrion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that kind of, in a way, Benjen tried in his own way, but he didn't give it to him straight. You know, they're murderers, they're thieves, they're rapists, they're this, they're that. You know, he doesn't tell him exactly. His father doesn't even speak to him of it.
Yeah.
You know, to him, he probably grew up believing the Night's Watch is a noble place, because in the North, you still consider it a noble profession or living to be a man of the Night's Watch. And he's starting to realize it's horse shit.
Or does he? Because don't they start to become a bit of a brotherhood, especially by the end of the chapter? That maybe it's just a different kind of nobility that they have that he thought.
Right. Or instead of his nobility, he needs to show his leadership.
Right.
You know,
that's
that
a learning experience right now. I mean, he should be the person who everyone looks up to.
Right.
He has the experience, he has the education, he has the training. There's no excuse for him not to be a leader.
Right.
So, but he has to put aside his prejudices and his ignorance and his spoiled brat mindset to understand who these people are and what they've been through and what he can become for them.
Exactly. And then once he does, he actually paradoxically rises up. When he rises himself down to their level,
Yes. That's deep. I think that's a very valid thing for today's day too. You know, it's one of those things where at first he wanted to beat them to show his worthiness. And after the blacksmith, which I never liked in the book that it was Tyrion, or I mean, not in the book, in the show, they had Tyrion take the part of the blacksmith. I think it's more important that another brother of the Night's Watch is the one that points it out to him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I've been here long enough to realize this, you know, we've seen this before. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to keep this trajectory of being the lordly little prince type person, or are you going to become a true brother and help these guys be better so you're all better? You know, and in a way, by him doing that, it's him slowly accepting his, I'm here, this is my place, you know.
And that's what would teach him that. That's a good point.
Yeah. It's a
Yes,
powerful.
I think in the TV show. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It also shows that he's open to learning.
Yes.
It's very important.
Yes.
Everyone will make mistakes. Everyone will have flaws, but it's what you do with those mistakes and those flaws that shows your character.
And it's quick. It doesn't take him, you know, going through the stages of, that's not true, why are you treating me wrong, this and that. Even though he's angry, he realizes right off the rip, I need to help these guys, because, you know, by helping them we'll become more friendly, but also by helping them we'll be a better unit and we'll all get through this a lot easier. You know, and I like what Stig said about Alistair Thorne too at this moment.
It's John, I think, maybe realizes that he's doing what Catelyn has done to him.
Ooh,
that's a good one.
Yeah, and he changes it and does the opposite of what Catelyn would have done, because Catelyn did the same shit for however old John is at this point, 14 or 15.
Yeah, 14 years.
Yeah, never changed.
Yeah,
Catelyn, that bitch.
Because he is shocked when what's his name, Noy, says that he's a bully,
right? Because he's never seen himself as a bully.
Exactly. He's always been bullied.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lord Snow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lord Snow, the bastard.
Yeah.
My brain's exploding.
Yeah, bringing Cat into it. I didn't view it in that way either, and that's a valid point. I mean, his whole life has been her abusing him and being a bully to him,
Yeah, and
and it being allowed to be happening too.
He even says so that it should be possible to be a bully because all the others are bigger than him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Catelyn was bigger than him.
Right.
She's the only one who's been bullying him when he was a kid, and she didn't think it was possible since he was smaller. He couldn't possibly be the bully, but he is.
Right.
Yeah, bully in power.
Mm-hmm.
Nice one, Stig.
I know.
Yes, you do.
Thank you, Han Solo.
Yes, right. I do like how we get a taste a little bit of different personalities too at the wall. It's very like you feel like you're more in a military type setting with like a, an Alistair Thorne that's going to break them down. And by John being as good as he is, makes everybody look worse. That makes the whole thing looks worse. So he hates him for that, or doesn't hate him. But yes, Stig, you're right. He doesn't hate him, but he's annoyed by him.
Well, you have to remember, Alistair was a Targaryen loyalist too. So
yes.
He quite literally may hate him.
Right. Being a Stark.
Yeah.
Well, he's okay with Benjen though.
Well, how long have they known each other?
Yeah.
Who got there first? I can't even remember. I would think it'd be Benjen.
Yeah.
Also, Benjen's not a child, so
right.
You
Under your control.
Right.
Benjen's first ranger. That's a little, he can't. If he could, I bet you he would treat Benjen differently. He just kind of seems like that. But, is he just that involved in the Night's Watch where he wants it to be the best it can be too? And he doesn't want this guy coming in thinking he knows better already just because he has some sword practice.
Well, if you think about it, Alistair Thorne is training the new recruits. And given what kind of people the recruits are, I'm sure he's fed up. Because they get the shittiest people up there.
Yes.
And he has to train them.
Right.
So,
but wouldn't that make you happy to have someone like John with his abilities? Like, instead of the blacksmith telling him, why didn't he pull him aside and be like, you should be helping these guys? It just shows you different views of people, how they see things. Him being the leader and teaching these guys, he should have been the one, not the blacksmith, to say it. That's what I got from it too. He didn't care enough. Like, it's more he's annoyed with these guys than wanting to help them get better at what they do.
Yeah, and Alistair Thorne is all about the threat against the wall, and it's all about the Night's Watch being strong.
Right.
And also, he's all about tradition. Mm-hmm. So anything that, pokes at that, makes him pissed.
Right. Very good.
Well, he has to obsess over something. I mean, he lost everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has nothing else. He has nothing else there.
Right.
But the Night's Watch. So
that's his whole life now, the Night's Watch.
Yeah. Well, the guy is a bit of a shit, but he's still doing his duty to the best of his ability.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's, as far as we know, fairly honorable.
Right.
Because he basically makes it clear when he doesn't like anyone. He doesn't run off and tell it to the Lord Commander. He says it to their face.
Yeah, he doesn't sugarcoat it.
That's true.
No, that's good. You're absolutely right.
I do find it interesting that John is going through training, and so is Bran.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah. Same time, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
That George.
I was going to say my brain. Yeah,
She gets you.
Yeah, nice, nice one, Jayne.
Thank you. What is happening? What is next?
Yeah, I mean, what do we got? All right. Anybody else on this chapter? No? All right. Stig, you said you'd grab the next one because Christy is in here. Hope she's well and happy and everything's good.
Oh, that's a good point. Another monster.
Yeah. I think Thorne already seen John as a rival and is worried that John will steal the leadership that he deserves after Mormont. I mean, he's from the North. He is the son of Ned Stark. The North needs, or the Watch needs the North. He's definitely competition. He's not just another recruit.
Mm-hmm.
He's competition. Yeah, that's a very good one. And I'm glad he brought it up, so we brought it up because that is definitely huge if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just that he's a Targaryen loyalist; it's Ned Stark and his bastard, the honorable Ned Stark. Oh man, that's a good one. I'm glad he
It's
said
like being on a job for years and this new kid comes along.
right, and
he's gonna get promoted over you.
Right. Even though his dad's not the CEO, his dad owns a company that the CEO of your company really, 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 really needs to look good for. You know,
Exactly.
and don't forget in the prologue, we already got something about a snobby young guy coming here, arranging leadership position because of who he was and where he was born from the Vale, you know?
Yeah.
So
that could have pissed Alistair Thorne off.
Yeah. You know, these young lordlings, I don't care if you're a Snow or not, they're young lordlings coming up and just getting things handed to them. I could see that really angering him. I'm glad. Yeah, man. I didn't think of even talking about that, but that's a valid point.
Yeah, and then, a month later, Jon Snow shows up. And he's like, here we go again. Another twat bastard.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Another Monster, for that one. That was good. And I like this little chat. I'm not going to bring it up, but Another Monster, Renier are having about Catelyn and why, which I always wondered when I was reading it too, why Ned would ever allow her to treat John.
Well, that's not a spoiler though, because Ned knows who John's mom is.
Right.
And there might be, if he explains it to Catelyn, that might be a bad idea.
Right.
So that's why he lets it go on, because the alternative might be worse.
Right. And we did bring up that she is the lady of Winterfell, and for him to step in on how they raise the children is demeaning to her. So we did talk about that. That, that's her castle to run. She wouldn't go to him and say, well, I would put more soldiers in this part of the field when you go to battle with this, that is not her job. Her job is to run the house, run the children, run the servants. And he does not want to step on those toes, I'm guessing. But I do also agree. Maybe he could have been like, lay off. And you never know. He might have, but he didn't do it enough. All right.
He should have spanked her with a belt.
Oh my gosh.
A belt, man. At least go with a paddle or something. God. Out of nowhere.
Just completely.
Yeah, out of nowhere. All right. Eddard 4 or 5. Eddard 5 or 4? 5, I think. No, 4. Excuse me. Eddard 4. And we can leave that to you, Stig, if you want to run through it.
What? No,
are you reading that yet?
No.
You want me to read it? Okay.
Christy was supposed to do it, but she didn't show up.
She's reading it right now. No one could hear her. All right, I got it. Ned arrives in King's Landing, tired and ready for a meal and a hot bath. Instead, he is immediately informed by the royal steward that there is an urgent meeting of the small council that he must attend, which that would just piss me off if I was him. After momentarily losing his temper, Ned decides it is best not to offend the council on his first day in the capital. Therefore, he's tasked tasks his own stewards to see that his daughters are guided to their rooms and that Arya is not allowed to go exploring. He borrowed some clothing because his was still packed. Ned arrives to find 4 members of the council waiting for him. Littlefinger, the master of coin. Varys, the master of whispers. Renly Baratheon, the master of law. And Grand Maester Pycelle. The eunuch immediately expresses sorrow over the troubles on the road and assures Ned they are all praying for Prince Joffrey's recovery. Ned coldly informs him that the prince grows stronger every day. When he sees Renly, Ned is struck by how much he looks like a young Robert. Littlefinger immediately quibs that Renly is much better dressed, having spent more on clothes than many ladies of the court. Upon introducing himself to Ned for the first time, Littlefinger mentions that Cat has most likely mentioned him before. Ned recalls that Littlefinger also knew his brother Brandon, adding that Brandon mentioned him often with some heat. Littlefinger responded that he would have thought heat did not suit the Starks, who are rumored to be made of ice and melt south of the neck. Ned replies that he does not plan on melting anytime soon. After a short greeting by Grand Maester Pycelle, Ned asks after the others members of the council and is told that Stannis Baratheon left for Dragonstone shortly after the king went north and that both Sir Barristan Selmy and King Robert are still riding through the city. When Ned suggests they wait, Renly explains that Robert finds the details of coin and crops boring and rarely bothers to attend. Then Renly says that the king sent him ahead to convey the council to handle an urgent matter, and Littlefinger produces a sealed letter for Ned. The king's letter contains an order that a tourney be held in the honor of Ned's appointment at the hand of the king. Ned is really not happy by that, with an extravagant being held in his name, some extravaganza. The prize alone totaling 90,000 gold dragons, and the costs are sure to run high as well. When Ned questions whether the treasury will be able to bear the expense, Littlefinger reveals the crown is already over 6 million gold pieces in debt, half of that to the Lannisters. Ned is shocked. The Targaryens left a treasury overflowing with gold. He cannot believe that Jon Arryn allowed Robert to beggar the realm. But the council explains that while Lord Arryn was a prudent man, Robert did not always listen. Ned insists that this tournament is something the realm cannot afford and declares that they consider it later, then leaves abruptly. Ned goes to the Tower of the Hand, reflects on misery of the last fortnight of the journey. He is intercepted by Littlefinger, who tells him he's going the wrong way. After a long journey through the Red Keep, Ned eventually realizes that Littlefinger is not leading him to the tower. Littlefinger explains he's leading Ned to his wife, but Ned does not believe him. Eventually, Littlefinger brings him to the foot of a bluff outside the castle, where they mount onto waiting horses and ride into the city. Jeez. Littlefinger leads him to a brothel, which pisses Ned off. Eventually recognizing Sir Roderick, though, and disarming his suspicion, Littlefinger leads him upstairs, and then they embrace, and he tells him all about the Valyrian steel and what happened. And it's Tyrion Lannister's. She right off says Tyrion Lannister would have attempted to murder Bran. Littlefinger states the reason is obvious. Tyrion would have never acted alone. Ned tries to assure himself that Robert could never kill a kid. Horror thing that kings either support or ignore. Queen Cersei, on the other hand, so Ned goes with that. Littlefinger reminds that accusing is treason. If they find proof on Cersei, then you bring it to the king. What else should we bring up right now? Ned feels they should take his case and dagger directly to the king, but Littlefinger reminds him he has no solid proof. Catelyn explains that she told Littlefinger about the suspicion concerning Jon Arryn's death. Littlefinger has promised to help them learn the truth. When Ned asks how much Varys knows about this, he is told that Varys has not been told, but Catelyn warns that the man knows things no normal man any way of knowing. He has a moment alone with Cat. Cat goes to Littlefinger and tells him, wait a minute, Littlefinger bedchamber. Cat goes to Littlefinger, tells him that she is appreciative of his effort, found brother that the brother she never should have lost. Ned is not so confident in Littlefinger. After Littlefinger leaves, Ned gives Cat instructions for the banners to fortify Moat Caitlin, to keep a careful watch over Theon Greyjoy in case his father's fleet is needed. He hopes it will not come to the war and Robert will believe him when he finds out. Whew, that's the long one. The end of that to me is great. Everything, okay, we'll hold off to the next couple Cat chapters, but just remember, fortify Moat Caitlin, keep an eye on Theon Greyjoy. That's all I'm saying. All right, who wants to start on this one? A lot going on.
Ned.
Well, it's basically a plot development chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And
True.
it sets up what quite a few characters are going to do for the next few chapters, I guess.
Right. You also see the way the small council kind of acts, how they, Littlefinger makes a comment about Renly spending a lot of money, more money on clothes than women. Grandmaster Pycelle just over talking Varys, his little comments. And Littlefinger trying to seem like he's the only one kind of being honest to Ned.
And
so you kind of see that.
And Stannis is missing from the small council, and I don't seem to talk about it much.
Right. He just took off.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's just a mess. It's corruption and just ignorance. He understands now that Robert is a problem.
Right.
And instead of just leaving,
which he should do.
He should. Like, that's what I was screaming throughout the chapter. Just go. Like, what more do you need? Get your family and just leave. Go north.
Yeah. Go to the king. My son has been almost murdered. We think he's been murdered. We have no clue. It was a random act. Don't even tell him what you think. Exactly. I must be home.
Yeah.
That's what I would have done.
Right then.
Yeah. Well, and it seems like the council, they not one of them has respect for the other person. So how can they be a functioning council, or the king? So how can they be a functioning council in that case? And then that describes the very reason why everything is so chaotic. Because you can have a king like Robert being Mr. Philanderer or whatever if you have good people looking after things.
And you also get that idea that the Targaryens, as bad as Aerys was, money was flowing into the city.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And in 14 years that Robert's been king now, I think it is, he has spent all that money and even put them more than 6 million gold pieces in debt.
Yeah.
Half. And we only know that half is in debt to the Lannisters. What the other half, I don't think they say. I don't think they bring up that other part. But
yeah.
And it explains why he hates being king. I mean, you have to be responsible.
Yep.
And he is it's staggering considering that he's gotten that huge debt, even though the country's not at war.
Right.
Good point.
And it doesn't seem like it's in a depression of any sort.
No, it's just spending it willy-nilly just to pass time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Also shows how sinisterly the Lannisters have made him in their debt, literally.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, not just surrounding him, he owes them.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, again, Ned, get out, dude. The second you meet Cat in that brothel, get out.
Yeah.
Or stay a while and rent a hooker.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
They've been married for a while. Change it up a little bit. Um,
And it's funny. I mean, that he was insulted that that's where he was being brought, or that's where she was.
right. Well, it's a joke to him. You think it's a joke, like
Yeah.
no way my wife would be here. And then she's there. Sir Roderick's there with his shaved whiskers. So something, what do you think right when you think that? Like, my wife is hiding in a brothel. What the hell is going on? And then you find out that she already believes the Lannisters are definitely involved. His prejudice come into it right away.
Mm-hmm.
It's a perfect storm that it looks like the Lannisters might have something to do with it.
You know why he's pissed though
Mm.
about the whorehouse? Because he knows Captain wouldn't have made enough money anyway in there.
Oh, man. I think another monster did say it best though. So in this chapter, spoiler, foreshadow, spoiler. I mean, all of this is set up, like Stig said. It's set up for future chapters.
Yeah.
There is a lot going on.
The chapter itself is almost like a hub that other chapters spring from in different directions.
Right. I do like, I still can't get over the whole, he gives her orders, pretty much orders. You need to do this. Call the bannermen, fortify. Because if this is going down, he knows it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah.
These are not just people that are arguing. These are small little kingdoms controlled by one drunkard that all have armies. And it could be ugly. It could be real ugly if Robert doesn't believe them. It could be real ugly if they catch wind of it and leave, the city to go fortify their own areas. It can get ugly. It could be a civil war.
I mean, any one of them could have dethroned Robert at a moment's notice.
Right.
Notice.
So why haven't they yet? And that's a valid point.
They've been enjoying the spoils too, though. They're part of the reason, I'm sure, that the country's in debt.
Right. Definitely a couple of them. But also, think of the Lannisters. Would they... I thought about this when I read it. Getting caught trying to murder a kid. I understand why that Cersei might have been involved. If that gets out, she's dead. Her kids are dead.
Mm-hmm.
Jaime's dead. Maybe their whole family's wiped out. But then again, you look at it, he owes them so much money. They're in control. Their kids are going to be the next kings. It's just so much that could teeter-totters both ways. Why would they put themselves in even a worse position? It's a tough.
The Lannisters who are supposed to be so good with money.
Right, and so smart and so calculating. But
you would think that they would want a rich kingdom for their kids to inherit.
Exactly, not something in debt to themselves. Because all they're doing is spending their own money. Mm-hmm. And where are all the tax money going? What's the Master of Coin doing?
Well, you have your answer right there.
Yeah.
They're probably putting the money into their own kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You're corrupt.
Yep. It's a lot to think about, but it is more of a,
it is.
Yeah.
They married, they control everything already. It doesn't make any sense.
Yep. And Robert cares none of it. Again, the PTSD, he just wants to spend money, drink, pretty much drink and whore himself to death. He hates these people, but he has to be surrounded with them. And it's more, you're starting to realize he didn't do this to help Ned. He put Ned in a horrible position. He did it because he knows that's the only guy he could trust. Yep. And he hopes that he can still trust him,
But Ned doesn't trust him at this point.
No, not enough. I mean, just their conversation of the Trident. He wants to murder kids. Every Targaryen must die.
But even in this instance, I mean, imagine being concerned, because he's concerned at this point about his own family too.
Yes.
With Robert's reaction. And this is your brother. I mean, this is the guy you grew up with.
Yep.
Imagine being afraid to go to him about who potentially killed your son.
Right.
His nephew. I mean, it's just...
That is why the chapter where
I was just
Ned has to kill the wolf.
Yes, sets this up perfectly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The way Robert handled Lady's death, and Ned sees him hunching over and not wanting to be involved in any of it and letting Cersei run the whole thing. Ned knows he can't go to his friend because his friend doesn't want to deal with something serious.
Yeah, and every time Robert gets a little bit of criticism or the finger is pointing at him, he loses his shit.
Yep.
Big baby. Well, and for crying out loud, technically, the whole thing that happened with Lady and Joffrey, it was a bunch of kids having a fight, you know, and he didn't even want to deal with children having an argument.
This is murder attempt.
Another thing, though, he knows that Robert just does what Cersei wants to get peace and quiet.
Yeah.
And given that she's very involved in this,
and she's surrounded by people. Ned has no one. She's surrounded by everybody she knows. So Ned can't even use others to help him in this debate over what the truth is.
But it's like Robert doesn't even like them. You would think, I still say you would think that Robert would go with Ned's advice or believe him or trust him. And yet we don't know that. Whatever faith Ned had in him is gone at this point.
Right.
I mean he's preparing for war.
Exactly. He's preparing for war. Think about it. The conversation at the Trident, the anger Robert shows, the stupid things he feels like Robert brings up, and then the Lady situation. Ned is hesitant to go to him for anything.
Nope.
And that is a big plot point for the rest of this book.
I mean, there's nobody that Ned can trust.
No.
It's so sad.
I'm
Just
telling
get
you.
out. Get out, Ned.
the only one he arguably could trust was Stannis, but he's not there.
That's true.
And he respects Stannis.
Yeah,
You
the
know?
other ones are afraid of him.
Right. But again, you get that little slight, you know, when he tells them, oh, why don't we have Stannis be the Warden of the East in the chapter, a couple chapters before. And Robert doesn't even think of that. Nah, we'll just make Jaime Lannister. First, he's a King's Guardsman. Why would he be a Warden of the East? Like, Robert just has no thoughts. It almost feels like open mouth Cersei's voice comes out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This is a great chapter for setup for a lot of things, and also shows you what happened right before is very important in the decision making for Ned Stark.
Mm-hmm.
He's not, again, the book shows you he's not, the show never showed the political points of Ned's thinking, the smart ideas. Ned is thinking pretty pragmatic. You know, he's not being like, oh, that's just my friend, I'll go talk to him. Look, his wife might have had my kid killed for a reason. Still don't know why, though. You know, or Tyrion Lannister did it. One of the two.
Yeah, Ned is completely out of his environment.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He's smart and stuff, but he hasn't learned the game basically.
Right.
He's
it's like someone who's great at playing Tetris all of a sudden has to play Call of Duty.
Right.
And expect to do well on the first try, right?
Right.
Oh man, that's my nightmare.
And don't forget, you know, Starks I thought were made of ice. And, you know, down south of the neck, they melt. I mean, that to me was a threat.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't pick up on it. Well, he does, but he doesn't take it serious.
And it's also true.
Right?
Clearly. How many more of your family members have
The
to
men
die
of-
out here?
Yeah, literally. Right. Literally, everyone that went south never came back in his family.
Mm-hmm.
Benjen's the only one who didn't go south, and he's the only one that's still alive. Of his you know, brothers, sisters, dad. Don't know a lot about his mom.
And he's in the far north.
Well, I was gonna say he's lost. He's missing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, not yet. Not yet.
His
He hasn't
moral,
lived yet.
his moral,
That's all right. That's in this book. We're good.
Okay.
his moral compass should point north.
It should always go north.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you could see the heat, the being tired, traveling, and just it almost is like that was that small council. That's a setup. Like they know he just got off the road, but let's hold this to see how he reacts.
Mm-hmm.
Just political. Let the political games begin. But then we have at the beginning of the chapter, political games. At the end of the chapter, a murder mystery. You know, it's all going to fork from here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's good stuff.
Excellent.
Anybody have anything else on this one? Or any of the chapters? Because this is our last chapter.
Well, we could do another chapter.
I'm going to wrap it up because I don't know how much more time I have until the 5th of June. So it might just stop on us.
Oh, that's in 1 day.
Right. It might just crap out though. I had like 2 hours. We're at 140. I did say only to 21. I don't want to go over what my thing says, my description. So I'm also kind of beat myself because I was up at 3 for work. So we'll hold off for next week. Let people review it. Let people look at it. Get me lady on the board. Miss Martin, if you want to come next week too, feel free.
Oh, well, thank you.
Hopefully have Christy back and the 5 of us can discuss. 6,
It's
whatever.
getting good.
It is. I think we have a good, it really is getting good. I'm like excited again reading this. So
Isn't it fun?
it is. It's a lot of fun. I hope everybody in the chat's having fun. I think this has been awesome. We have a good core group of people in the chat. Again, Orville Nation, Rennie A, Another Monster. I saw Snatch Face up there before.
Culture Casino.
Yeah, Culture Casino.
Milady.
Milady. Space Tuna. Mason. We got a good group. And I appreciate everybody coming. And if we want to, we can, Ords Board. Thank you, buddy. So does anybody have any final words about these chapters? I think these were very important chapters personally, but we say that every week.
Well, dun, dun, dun. The plot thickens.
It does thicken. The true crime begins. The detective work. That is one thing I do enjoy about the next couple chapters. Wow, it is lightning and thundering outside. All right, so Teresa, you want to plug your channel?
For sure. Come and see me on Miss Martin Muses, where I discuss everything from books, movies, music, history, travel, cats, and even some of my Xbox One.
Oh, nice. So yes, please make sure we didn't have any mods in the. I just realized that dropped any links, but I'll try to remember to put them in the description, or you could drop your own. Are you one of my mods? It's time to
I'm not a. Well, I would if I were a mod.
I know. There you go. You're a mod.
Yay!
So drop your link, Jayne.
Okay. Hey guys, you can find me here on YouTube, where I post weekly movie and television reviews every Sunday at 6 Central. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jayne Theory. I just released my Empire Strikes Back throwback review, which I love, and I don't like a lot of stuff I make, but I do like that one.
When did you release that one?
Huh?
When did you release it? Just now?
Sunday.
Oh, I don't think I checked it out yet. I'm sorry. I'm going to check that out right now.
I'd love you guys to check it out.
Yeah.
And let me know what you think. And let's see. I think that's it for me.
Well, thank you, Jayne.
Thank you.
First of his name?
Just a tiny YouTube channel. I'm usually on this channel and on Christie's channel. I don't know. I just pop up here and there. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm just a nerd.
And we love nerds here.
We are all nerds.
We are all nerds. Yes.
That's twice I warned you, Renly.
What are we talking about Monday night? We haven't discussed that yet. We did the mythology. We did the Greyjoys the week before that. We're gonna have to discuss that and let people know. What do you think?
Could dig into Jamie, Brienne, and Lady Stoneheart.
Ooh, we might have to be in the Riverlands for a bit. I was thinking we haven't even talked about Danny.
Or we could talk about the Reeds.
Oh yeah.
Just move further south as we go along. Then again, we did Dorne, didn't we?
Yeah, we did jump to Dorne.
Yeah,
we can go back north a bit. What do you want to talk about?
Lady Stoneheart and Jamie and Brienne.
Okay, that's what we'll be discussing on Monday night, everybody. Lady Stoneheart, Jamie, Brienne. Where will they be in the Winds of Winter? What has brought them up to this point so far? I'm enjoying it. I hope you're all enjoying it. I hope everybody's safe. I hope everybody's healthy. Thank you for coming. And remember, freedom is not free. Have a great night, everybody.